The time is just gone 5 minutes past 8, and we've learned yesterday about two people being injured after the Prasa bridge collapsed in Jeppstown. One seriously, and this is a bridge that is straddling a railway line in Jeppstown, and according to the city of Johannesburg, they were lucky because the bridge collapsed at around 1:30, and normally it accommodates hundreds of pedestrians between 4 and 6 p.m. And if there was a train on the tracks, this could have been a mass casualty incident. Now, we've become used to some of these disasters as a result of decaying and aging infrastructure in this country. We've seen what has happened in the city of Johannesburg, Bree Street, in terms of the gas line and the damage that had caused. And we just see so much of this happening, whether we're talking about potholes, whether we're talking about ESCOM infrastructure, whether we're talking about just the general state of infrastructure in this country. A simple thing like traffic lights that are not being repaired. In fact, many have been cut off, many have been stolen, and they are not being replaced. And these are thousands and thousands of traffic lights right across the entire country. These are just a few examples. And to unpack all of this, the head of civil engineering at the University of KwaZulu-Natal, Professor Mohamed Mostafa. Professor Mustafa, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to you and your listeners.
Well, in recent years, Prof, we knew that this was going to happen because South Africa, we've got aging infrastructure, we've got infrastructure that is not being maintained. And at some point in time, with this bridge collapse, we've seen even roads collapsing over a period of time. We knew that something was going to give if the infrastructure has not been attended to.
That's correct. In fact, in 2022, SAIC launched their infrastructure report card, and the overall rating of the infrastructure in the country was identified as category D. Basically, the card uses a scale from A to E to classify the infrastructure state, and the overall status of our infrastructure in South Africa was D, which means that it's about to collapse. So we have some, let's say, excellence of center of excellence in some infrastructure areas where they scored A's and B's, but most of the infrastructure lies in the category D and E, which means that if we continue with that trend, we will have a failed infrastructure in the country in the near future.
Let's just try and unpack this category D and looking at the country as a whole. Is this now limited to certain areas, or is this just a general score right across the entire country in terms of infrastructure decay?
No, it covers a wide range of infrastructure. So, for example, if we take roads, national roads are categorized as category B, while most of the others, provisional, metro, municipal, they are category D, and the gravel roads are category E, which means that they are already in the failed status. But the report looked also at the airports, at the rail system, at the ESCOM infrastructure, not the electricity generation, the infrastructure in the education system, and so on. So the report is very detailed, and it gives a lot of information about the infrastructure status in each sector. And as I said, the worrying sign is overall we are not doing that good. And of course, what happened in Jeppstown bridge is an example of the status of our infrastructure. And in fact, we have information, we know. So for example, in 2022, the Gauteng Department of Transport said that in their report, we have around 16% of the bridges in Gauteng in poor condition. In 2022, the Joburg Road Agency increased that percentage to 90%. So if we try to look around in the country, we will say that we have between 20 and 30% in most provinces, 20 to 30% of our bridges in poor condition. And these stats are a little bit outdated. So I think that a recent study will show that these numbers are much higher than these values. And of course, we know why this is happening. The reasons can be summarized in some points like underfunding of the maintenance, lack of incompetency, lack of skills, lack of competency, lack of skills. We have some old bridges from the 60s and 70s. Of course, the climate change has some effects in accelerating the damage of some infrastructure, and of course the heavy traffics using roads and bridges where they shouldn't be allowed. So these are some reasons why we are, particularly in the bridges and roads sector, we are seeing the deterioration of the infrastructure.
Prof, what you are obviously saying is of major concern. The stats are actually horrific. And these obviously are disasters in the making. As I mentioned with regard to the bridge in Jappistown, two people that were injured, and it could have been worse. It could have been a lot worse. Now, we hear always of, natural disasters, but man-made disasters due to the reasons that you've cited, the lack of skills, the lack of political will, the corruption, all that is actually taking place around us. And it's good, it's fine, it's great to highlight that we have got a serious problem and prepare these reports. And also, even by their own admission, they would accept the fact that the infrastructure is in decay mode. But the key question is, who takes these reports seriously?
It's the responsibility of the government, the roads agencies, the departments of transport, public works, human settlements. All these departments at provisional and national levels do have a collective responsibility to take the reports up and to implement the recommendations. We have a lot of research going around in the country done by professionals who are experts in their areas in different sectors of infrastructure, and done also by professional bodies and organizations like SAICI. But the point now is all of these people are not in the power to take actions. Only the government can deal with infrastructure. Infrastructure is not something which belongs to the public or even non-profit organizations. It's state-owned entities or the local and the national government directly. So it's their responsibility to take actions and to look into the priorities. Currently, I can see that the government is focused on ESCOM generation of electricity, fixing potholes, and turning around Transnet. So these are three important areas, but that's not enough. There is a need in the country to have, let's say, a widespread culture in the government of maintenance. Maintenance is not a priority in any governmental department at either national or provisional level, and of course at local level it's not at all, and that's not right. So there are exceptions like Sandra, for example, but the exceptions should be the norm. So giving priority to maintenance must be a top important thing to do for any department working with infrastructure. Basically, maintenance is the key to prevent incidents like the sad incident happened in Eepstown Bridge.
Yes, but also, Prof, looking at the people that are in charge, and I'm sure that we've got the wrong people in the wrong jobs, and this is the reason why, or one of the reasons why we are seeing this problem. And I'm certain, looking at someone like yourself, an academic, the head of civil engineering at the University of KwaZulu-Natal, in terms of the skills that we possess in this country, because. Obviously, when we talk about infrastructure decay and infrastructure maintenance, it requires the right people in the right jobs. It requires engineers, and I'm sure this country is not short of the required skills to ensure that the infrastructure is suitably maintained, and also to ensure that it's not reaching a point where it is going to be a total collapse.
In fact, we have 2 points to discuss here. The first one is professionalization of the public sector, meaning appointing engineers to look after service delivery and infrastructure in the country with the right qualifications. And in fact, recently, EXA launched their identification of engineering work policy. And this policy will come into implementation in 2024. And the policy pushes hard towards only engineers are allowed to do engineering activities. And unfortunately, in the government, that's not the case. So at provisional and local level, you will find a lot of municipalities and professional departments which are dealing with infrastructure, where those departments are not equipped with the right skilled professionals. In some cases, you find technicians and technologists are doing engineering work. And in some cases, you find even people without any engineering related qualification. And that's wrong. And of course, it's similar to, for example, medicine. You can't allow someone who is not qualified as a medical surgeon to do a surgery, even if this person was a nurse. So we don't apply the same principle in engineering, unfortunately, and that's completely wrong. In fact, if we look at something like transport, in some countries, even the minister of transport is a professional person, not a political person. So most of our infrastructure portfolios are dealt with by non-engineers at different levels. And sometimes these levels are even the implementation level, and that should be corrected. The second point is, do we have enough skills in the country? We have a lot of skills in the country, but they are not enough. So this is another reason why sometimes the government, the municipalities find it difficult to find the right people because we lack engineers. We don't have enough engineers in the country, and unfortunately, we don't graduate enough engineers because a lot of our kids at the high school, they don't study math and physics, and they don't qualify to study engineering. So the number of students who are eligible to study engineering in the country is getting less and less every year. And subsequently, the number of graduates is getting less as well. And also, our engineers are attracted by jobs overseas, especially Australia, New Zealand. So some of them, they even migrate. They don't just move for a job. So there are so many factors which need to be considered at the same time. So on one side, the government must implement the identification of engineering work policy by EXA ASAP, must push for the right skilled engineers to be in the right position, and at the same time put more effort into our educational system to encourage the young kids to consider engineering as a career and to support the engineering education so that we can graduate more engineers, and of course to encourage them to stay in the country by affording them the right environment for work.
Prof, I just want to put you on hold. I need to take a quick ad break, and we'll be back. I just need to engage you with a few minutes, please, if you would just bear with us.
My pleasure.
Listen to something fresh. Listen to Salam Media, your humanitarian broadcaster.
Conveniently located along the banks of the Crocodile River bordering the Kruger National Park, as a guest at Buckler's Africa Lodge, one can enjoy an amazing sunrise or sunset on our spacious deck area while you catch a glimpse of some wildlife sightings along the Crocodile River. The sounds of the African savanna will greet you whilst you enjoy your morning coffee. Buckler's Africa Lodge by Tingana Collection. Buckler's Africa Lodge is ideally situated only 6 kilometers from the Crocodile Bridge Gate in the Kruger National Park. Catering for all travelers with variety, we have 4 types of the finest rooms: superior rooms, deluxe suites, and 2-bedroomed family units. Each room is equipped with the finest amenities to make your stay unforgettable. Guests can choose between the self-catering option or book their accommodation with breakfast and dinner included. Buckler's Africa Lodge is your ideal location for the ultimate Kruger getaway experience. We specialize in exhilarating and educational game drives in Kruger, tailor-made to suit your family. Inquire about our various accommodation offerings and other activities. Visit www.tingana.co.za for more information. Buckler's Africa Lodge by Tingana Collection. Experience the pulse of Africa with us.
There's no smell that takes me back to the comfort of my childhood than the smell of black seed oil being applied by my nanny. Now I'm using Tib black seed in my own home to soothe sniffles and coughs, to help with digestion and immunity, and of course, as part of my beauty routine. After all these years, I've come to appreciate the wisdom in finding comfort and shifa in trusted treatments like Tib black seed. You can find Tib black seed at all leading pharmacies or find out more at blackseed.co.za.
Sponsor an orphan, and you'll help support a vulnerable child to have the education they've always dreamed of, so they can build a brighter future. You'll be feeding a hungry stomach and a hungry mind with knowledge that will last them a lifetime. That's the power of an education. Sponsor an orphan now with Islamic Relief.
When the perfect blend of stylish decor, exquisite halal cuisine, and warm hospitality come together, it could only mean Al Bayt Lodge, your true home away from home. Al Bayt is the ideal heaven for families, business people, and tourists with its 4-star family rooms and other luxurious facilities. Conveniently situated close to Port Elizabeth Airport, the beach, and other amenities, your stay will be truly unforgettable, as you'll be taking home lasting memories of the warm hospitality, the serenity and tranquility that Al Bayt has to offer. For reservations, call 041 583 6415 or visit www.albaytlodge.co.za.
Rejuvenating media day by day. This is Salam Media.
At 8:24 a.m., we continue our discussion this morning with Professor Mohamed Mostafa, the head of civil engineering at the University of KwaZulu-Natal, and we are talking about the South Africa and the collapsing and decaying infrastructure against the breach collapse that had taken place in Jeppestown yesterday, and clearly we have a problem. Prof, just an issue with regard to the skills in this country. We know there have been a brain drain for a long time. We've lost many people in this country. And also, at one point in time, looking at South Africa in the engineering field, I mean, we were right up there with the best in the world. and South African companies were very, very highly regarded. They were in demand. South African engineers, South African companies that have done a lot of work overseas. And I think the one that comes to mind is even the airport in Dubai with companies like Murray and Roberts, and there have been many other companies. Now, all of that has actually been lost in this country. And looking at where we are at this point in time, is the government, I mean, all the work is doing, all the work is being done. Is the government taking this engineering profession seriously enough?
Taking it seriously, yes. Enough, no. There are so many things to be done. And I agree with you that the South African engineers are recognized internationally as highly skilled engineers. And this is still the case. And this is why they are welcomed in other countries if they want to find jobs there. Our South African engineering companies are still regarded as top companies in terms of consultation and in terms of contracting as well. So we have the core to build around and to improve. We are, let's say, at a little bit of critical stage where the brain drain, if continues, it may lead to a severe shortage in the future. But we are not talking about the near future. But we have enough time to turn the wheel around and to improve our capacity in terms of engineers available in the country. Luckily, the level of engineering education at our institutions in South Africa is still considered as a high level. We have 6 engineering programs in 6 different universities, and they are all accredited by the Engineering Council South Africa, EXA, which is part of the Washington Accord, which means that the qualification is also recognized by a lot of countries who are part of the Washington Accords. So in other words, the Washington Accords accredit what EXA is doing, and EXA accredits what the 6 institutions are doing. So in essence, those programs are recognized worldwide. So in terms of level of engineering education, it is still high. Skills of our engineers are available. Our problem, as I said, is the numbers. Currently, we are not making the numbers going up. And we are not putting effort as a country into the educational system. The problem is not to go to a university and invest more in the university. That's not the solution. The problem can be solved by improving the teaching of math and physics at primary schools and high school level, encouraging the young kids to consider math and physics as we can easily see that this number is going down. And on the other side, the government must put measures in place to improve the skills at the governmental levels. The different spheres we have in the government, there is definitely lack of skills there, and there is a huge need to improve these skills and to turn around the infrastructure portfolio from being a neglected portfolio to be a top priority portfolio. And as I said earlier, it's not by focusing only on certain categories. It's to focus on the whole portfolio at once, because the infrastructure is like a network. It's like the veins in the human body. They are all connected. You can't focus on roads while you are neglecting bridges, for example. And there are examples which needs to be copied. So SANRAL is a successful example where transformation didn't lead to collapse of SANRAL. In fact, SANRAL is well resourced in terms of financial resources. and it is also well resourced in terms of human resources. Some of Western Cape departments, governmental professional departments, they are doing very, very well. Also, they are well resourced financially. They are well resourced from the human perspective and the right skills. So it's the political will. If there is a political will to copy the successful examples and repeat them, then we will manage to improve the situation in a few years' time.
Yes, and just finally, Prof, interesting you speak about maths and science and physics and all of that at a academic level, at a school level, but also together with all of that, and we definitely need highly qualified engineers, but also people, just trade people, because we've seen in the past, we've seen so many trade schools in this country, and you need artisans, you need people that have the technical know-how to deal with infrastructure maintenance, on the ground. Now, all of this has actually gone because, South Africa was very, very strong in that area as well. We had a lot of technical schools, we had trade schools, we had technical colleges, and all of that is no more. And this is where the interest, needs to be generated as well, to have people with the expertise at that level, at technical level, to be able to carry out the day-to-day functions that is required, particularly when we are talking about maintenance and taking care of infrastructure.
In fact, it's not all gone. We still have technical schools, we still have technical colleges, and again, the main problem is we don't get the right skilled teachers in some of these schools and colleges. So we need to look into those who are doing the skills transfer. So we still have interest from the young people at technical schools and technical colleges for different reasons. But the competency of the teachers and lecturers at this level is questionable. So we don't have, let's say, enough qualified teachers and lecturers to transfer the skills to the technicians, technologists, and to the artisans. It's very important to consider that area as well. And again, why we don't have the right people? Financial is a big issue. So people go for jobs which pay more. So the condition of work environment in some technical schools, in some technical colleges, is not conducive. So there are factors there which needs the attention of the higher education department, but also it needs buy-in from the government in terms of where we want to go. I can see that the government is talking about STEM education in general positively, but it's not enough. It's not, in terms of implementation, it's not there enough. So I can't say that there is nothing. There are activities taking place, but the outcome of these activities is still much less than what we need. So improving the technical schools, improving the technical colleges in terms of teaching capacity is very important. I visit some of the colleges from time to time, and I can see that we have enough number of students studying technical skills in general, but in a lot of cases, the competency of their lecturers is questionable, and the resources available to the competent ones is not enough to do a proper skills transfer and graduate employed technicians, employed artisans, That's very important. We graduate those kids, but are they employable? Do they have the right skills? In most cases, uh, the companies, they continue into learning after graduation. And by the way, this learning is supported by the government through the different CETAs. So
Mm.
there are resources, but the allocation of the resources is not really done to the optimum level.
Well, obviously, that takes this discussion to another level. But, Prof, unfortunately, time is of the essence. And I must say, it's been an absolute pleasure having you with us, unpacking what you have with us this morning right here on Salam Media. We wish you all the best. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Jazakallah khairan wa alaikum assalam.
Professor Mohamed Mostafa, the head of civil engineering at the University of KwaZulu-Natal, unpacking the problems in South Africa, particularly in terms of decaying and collapsing infrastructure.